Hey, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. I am here today with great Judy Elkins. Judy, welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you. I really like what your shop does. I think it's really wonderful to all
Thank
the,
you
all
very
the
much. We're here because we're working on stuff with you with Star Wars. Let's talk a little about Yak Face. Was that one that came from a sketch, or was that something you just made up on your own?
I just made him up, and it was. I just started pushing the Sculpey around, and I kind of thought about different animals. I just kind of pushed the clay around, and then sort of a snout. You know, here was a snout and a neck, and then I just kind of, like you were saying, that sometimes it leads you, and then sometimes
Yeah.
you lead it, lead it. So there was like pretty soon it's okay, well, here's a good place for a mouth, and here's a good place for some eyes, and I kind of pinched up the nose and wrinkled it for to make it look more alien, or less like a, like he was starting to look like a camel, and he's
Right.
still kind of like a camel. And so I thought, well, this will make him look less like a camel, and so I kind of pinched up the nose and then put some ears on, and then I guess with the Sculpey, you bake it in the oven, and then you paint it. And so after that, I think he just really needed some hair, and I just thought that would make him look more friendly.
He has a friendly vibe about him. The hair definitely helps, makes him literally a little fuzzy.
Yeah.
He definitely is a fast read.
Right. I knew he would be a background character. And so if you're in the background, you really kind of need big eye. I mean, you would want something with big eyes that you could recognize this is a face, rather than something if it had squinty eyes and
Some kind of dark mass just hidden in
yeah.
the shadows. You needed somebody bright and with big eyes, so that as the camera panned, you'd see him.
Right, he would show up, and so that's kind of how he came about. And then he got approved, and so then we went into the full size.
Right. And at one point you had asked me, how did we pick him? Yak Face has a really interesting story. The old action figure in the 80s wasn't ever available in the United States. So as kids, we never even knew Yak Face as an action figure existed. It became one of these very sought after figures. There's a mystique about him. And so, you wound up designing a character who not only made it into the movie, but who also became a very sought after and valuable old action figure. So that was part of what made him an easy choice, and something that was a good way to bring you into the archive collection. It's really nice to have your work represented in it, and I think it's exciting for us to, put that in with everybody else here, where we've got, Phil Tippett and Chris Wallace and Ken Ralston and Tony McVeigh all represented so far, and now Judy Elkins as well. So, so that's kind of cool.
It is. It's really, really. I mean, it's something I never expected. So it is something really exciting. And well, 40 years too. I mean, I can barely remember it, and just the. Hearing back from other people, like people send me photos to sign and that kind of thing. I think,
Nice.
wow, I'm so happy that the work that we did 40 years ago, people are still enjoying it. That just kind of, I mean, you don't remember other things you did 40 years ago. I mean, nobody remembers the rotoscope mats I did for Raiders.
Right.
There's about that. So I guess this is because it is a thing. It was a three-dimensional thing that you can hold in your hand, and
It's a character.
It's the real world. Yeah.
So we've been going through this process of identifying all these old maquettes and figuring out who sculpted what. And I have to take a moment and thank you just for all the help you've given us in that process.
You're welcome.
It has been so fun exploring this stuff. We've been going to the archives, we've been digitally laser scanning and high resolution capturing all of these things. You have been so generous with your time, looking at all of these old pictures we send you, blurry shots, and hey, do you know what this is? Hey, do you know what that is? Do you know who did this? We wouldn't be halfway where we are in terms of what we've identified and what we're able to do if it wasn't for you.
Oh,
So thank you for that. Let's talk about that life-sized Yak Face. So if you haven't gotten to see the real head in person, you might picture it as like, oh, it's like a mask that someone would wear rather.
yeah.
It's gigantic,
Well,
that
that's true.
head.
Yeah, yeah.
It's huge. How much clay was that?
It was probably at least 100 pounds of clay, and the mask fits. So where I remember making eye holes
In
on
it.
the neck,
Yeah,
because that's where how it would fit on a person, and
right.
they
So
filled
the
it.
actual head is up over your head.
Yeah, and I remember taking cheesecloth to cover up the holes. I would kind of took some cheesecloth and then kind of painted a little bit so that it sort of disguised, and you couldn't real easily see the neck holes. But they were filled with urethane foam, and then later on, part of my job became to cut away the inside foam so it would fit on somebody's head, and
Oh,
that for a lot of these creatures. So
so you didn't even cast a head into there. There was no core mold. You filled it solid and then trimmed away. Used like a turkey cutter, like an electric knife to cut.
right, electric knife, exactly. They would make a big Kirk and let's see, Wesley Seeds and Kirk were the mold makers, and so they would wheel the clay sculptures in and make the plaster molds,
Right.
and then we pour the latex into there, and then let it set up to a thickness of about an eighth of an inch. Then they pour out the rest of the latex. It was like a slush mold, and then let that harden up, and then we pull it out, and then part of my job too later became to cut the flashing off and kind of repair any holes and things like that, and then get it ready to paint. Yak Face, I did paint Yak Face, and that was an education too. With the rubber, when you're painting on rubber, you have to use a rubber latex paint.
Yeah.
So it's thinned with benzene, I guess, and rubber cement.
Those rubber cement paints
Rubber
mixed with
cement
the
paint,
benzene. Yeah, yeah.
and then the airbrushes would clog up quite a bit, so you
Oh
were
yeah.
constantly having to clean the airbrush. But that was a real education too. I was not aware of any of that process.
Do you feel so? For starters, I feel like you owe an apology to Wesley and Kirk's backs for
Oh
having to
yes.
make a plaster mold of that gigantic sculpture.
Well, actually, once they make the mold, though, then they take it off of. They might not have ever had to lift it because
True, yeah, they would
plasters
break it
make
apart before they would.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
but
clean it out.
even just once you filled that thing with latex, I had to take
Mhm.
3 buckets of latex just to
Oh,
fill
God.
it up.
Oh, yeah. That was,
He's a huge guy. I do know there's a great shot of you putting hair into him, and
oh,
maybe that's yak hair, maybe that's horse hair. He's got very, very coarse hair. It's got a lot of stick outedness, for lack of
mhm.
a better word.
It
Um,
might have been horsehair. We had some horse tails and a lot of just a lot of different types of hair and fur and things.
right. That's really cool though, because not a lot of people get to, on a movie, design a character,
Mhm.
sculpt the character, paint the character, hair the character, really take it all the way, save for molding, which is the hard part. Let them do that. And you really got to take him to fruition. That's kind of a cool thing on its own.
That was.
I'm so grateful that after all this time, you still have all those great memories of it, that you have been so willing to share your time and
Oh,
memories
thank
with us.
you.
And I cannot thank you enough for being a part of this edition. If anybody is watching, please look Judy up on IMDb. If you're watching this on YouTube, please do the like and subscribe thing, and go to Regal Robots page and sign up for our mailing list, and check out the Yak Face maquette, which will probably be out by the time this is up, and maybe bring a little bit of Judy's work into your home. For myself from Regal Robot, Tom Spina, and for Judy, thank you all for watching. Judy, once again, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Tom, and then thank you, audience, for listening in. It's just this has been a really fun chat. I've really enjoyed this a lot. So,
Thanks, everybody. Have a good day.
okay, thanks.